We are back
Yeah,
again
we are live now. Yeah.
with the bad boys out there. We have our favorite Saurabh Shah and Ruptirtha Mukherjee with us. And guys, Football Clubhouse is back. So, first thing today we'll discuss about the latest Arsenal versus Leeds match, as well as some things in Premier League we'll discuss, as well as we will discuss the things went on the match that was good or bad. We'll discuss here. So let's start with Ruptirtha Mukherjee. Uh, uh, Ruptirtha, tell us about the what's your views on Arsenal versus Leeds match.
Yeah, I mean with the run of form that Arsenal is on and the inconsistency they are right now going through, I expected Leeds to give a tough competition and it did happen. Even though the biggest talking point was actually not the match was but the Pepe red card, which was quite a straightforward red card, but the point of discussion was like why he was provoked to do something like that. Yes, we were shown quite a few plays around him having a bond with Palikowski where they were pushing and shoving each other. But no matter what, at that point of time where we were actually getting a good hold of the game and Leeds were actually leaving spaces at the back, to get down to 10 men was actually a letdown from Pepe's point of view. He already issued a statement in Instagram, but the 3 points can't be brought back. Even though the best chance of the match fell to Bukayo Saka in a 1-1 situation, but it was tough because we were all the time defending the whole game. And even though we were resilient, we actually showed good character, but it was actually tough on the trot. So yes, things are tough, not looking good, but we still believe in Arteta and his tactics and the team's character, and hopefully we will bounce back before the big North London derby, which is coming up in 2 weeks, and hopefully we will have a good game in the weekend.
Okay, so as I know that Leeds were up with 66% possession with the in the match. So what's your
Mhm.
views on this, Saurabh?
Sure. While I didn't see the game entirely, I did see the game in certain parts, and it is only after Pepe was sent off that I started watching the game. And from what I could see was that although Arsenal were a man down, they showed a lot of grit, and that is something which has not been that is not something which Arsenal is normally associated with, at least the past few seasons or so. And that was something which was very excellent to see. But when you analyze Arsenal's gameplay as such, uh, the fact that they sat deep and defended well and they conceded possession to Leeds was more because of the fact that they had a man missing. Because if we look at the previous games they have played this season, they Arsenal have tended to hold on to the ball much more than Leeds. Yes, till the time Pepe was on the pitch, the game was a much more open-ended kind of to back and forth between both the teams, looking to attack and trying to get on the score sheet. But it is, but the quality of the game from where I was looking at, that didn't deteriorate even over the entirety of the 90 minutes. So despite the fact that uh, Leeds dominating position, at the end of it they didn't have anything to show for it. And if you look at even the three shots that were that hit the bar, I was reading the certain stat, with I think Brighton and Albion currently this season, they are the only ones who have hit the bar for 4 times in a game. Leeds came quite close equaling that. They hit the bar 3 times. But if you look at all the shots that hit the bar, they were more on going towards they're the outside of the bar rather than the inside of the post or something. So you could say in a certain way that it was a deserved draw for Arsenal. They really deserved something from that game because the way the other players pulled, and they could have even gotten away with a win, and it wouldn't have been surprising. Saka missed a much missed a quite a clear chance actually, because if Meslier hadn't gotten down, and if Saka hadn't sidestepped, hadn't taken that extra touch to get it away from the goalkeeper, he could have probably he should have he would have probably put the ball back in the back in the end of the net. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean the reason I found that they Arsenal didn't end up scoring a goal, because if you see the all our front three players in the whole squad, be it Eddie, be it Laka, be it Oba, none of them are actually in form right now. So with one man down, you won't expect a team having a lot of chances. So the chances will be in bits and parcels. So if you see Oba got two chances, Saka got one clear chance, but they couldn't finish up just because of the reason that none of the front three actually are in goals. I mean, who would have expected we were talking about Aubameyang getting the golden boot, but we are already 10 games in the season, but only I guess he scored two goals, that too one from the penalty spot against Man United. So this was something which is not expected, but hopefully he'll pick up form and come to the limelight.
So I
Yeah,
have
I
a
guess so.
question. What's your views on Rob Holding as a defender in that match? Ruktirthada.
Yeah, actually, Rob Holding is somewhat like Emi Martinez, who has been actually waiting for a long to get a chance in the squad. But with so many stalwarts coming into the Arsenal defense, it was problem for him actually to get a good run of games. But with few of our centre backs injured, it seems like Holding and Gabriel are actually making a good centre back pair, because none of them, if you see, even if we were down with we were one man down, but we didn't seem to panic a lot actually, because we were keeping our position absolutely perfect. So we were not actually scrambling for the ball or trying hard to get the ball. So that's the very reason maximum shots that Leeds actually had on target or were hit on the post were actually being shot from outside the box. So yeah, so I am backing him for having a good partnership with Gabriel, and hopefully he stays fit and continue well.
So Leeds in that match took 25 shots, out of them 4 are on target. But these 25 shots were made by Leeds. So what's your views on this? That what about the game that Leeds can take 25 shots in a game? What's your views on this, Saurabh?
So it's a more than obvious that Bielsa has continued with whatever has served his team well in the championship. He has continued to explore those principles in the Premiership as well, and that has helped him. That has helped his team acclimatize. If you look at it, he has made in additions only in certain parts by bringing in Rodrigo, Rafinha, and Lorente, Marcus Lorente, and all of these have been certain upgrades in the midfield, and also to take account of the fact that upgrade in quality as to what they were facing in the championship. So from my view, Leeds has been a worthwhile watch. They are already the second best, everyone's second best team in the league, and everyone who is following Leeds is, if not anything else, they're entertained by it. Now you can obviously see there is a dearth of quality that is preventing them from stealing results or winning the game in a manner which their position and their dominance should be justified. But then football is a funny old game, like everyone else, like every team playing this game knows that. And if Leeds maybe Leeds' current position and the current style of play does deserve a few more points. I'll not say that they deserve a large number of points, but they deserve a few more points. And I think they will be more than happy with the result against Arsenal. Uh, with the Arsenal, means like say if you would have asked them before the current game that whether they would have envisaged a victory in this game, that would have that means Bielsa would have said that he would have been happier with a point. But obviously, given the fact that how the circumstances played out, that you had almost 40 minutes of an half to get with where Leeds stayed with an extra man, Bielsa would be a bit frustrated about the fact that they could have while they could have taken a they could have taken a victory away from this game. So yeah, that's about it.
Okay, so at the 51 minute, Nicolas Pepe got the red card. What's your views on this, Ruptirthada, and how it impacted the
I
match?
mean, it was an extremely foolish act from someone like Pepe. I mean, I am actually talking about Pepe because of the reason like he has actually issued a statement before the game, like when he went out on international duty for uh, Ivory Coast. He actually said like I am lacking game time, even though in the Premier League I am not. Even though he's playing in the Europa League, but he is actually struggling to get form back under Arteta in the Premier League. So being said that Arteta actually handed him good amount of minutes to express himself, and then he comes out and does such thing. And what I'm afraid is Nicolas Pepe is a personal favorite of many of the Arsenal fans because of the extra X factor he brings in on that right hand side. But I'm afraid like he will be again going down the path of Mesut Ozil, where he will be in the bad books of Mikel Arteta and suddenly start getting lack of games and end up losing his form. So I think he should have kept his cool and keep on performing and let his foot do the talking rather than the headbutt. And it was, I mean, he led the team down, his teammates down, and the fans down because we were till the time we were 11 versus 11, the match was open for us to take. But with him, actually, Leeds kept on coming more into the game and kept us at bay. So yeah, that was a shameful act, and hopefully he learns from it. And it's a three game ban, but taking the positives out of it, hopefully Reece Nelson will get more chance now in the Premier League for Arsenal, and he performs well.
Okay, so I think Saka got injured at 90th minute. So what's that? If you watched it, how it can be problematic for Arsenal?
I don't think it will be an ACL problem. It's a slight knee problem. Maybe he can be out for 1 week, and it was actually a quite a stressful week for him because he almost played 60 plus 60, 120 minutes in two of the games on international duties because Ben Chilwell was injured. So Southgate was compelled to make him play those minutes, and he actually performed quite well for England. So, given that he was actually given rest, but with the circumstances, he has to be brought on, and he was one of the brightest players in that Arsenal front three. So yeah, so we hope he gets fit and comes up well.
Okay, so we have a question now. Uh, that is Nishant Shah saying that. So, how are Arsenal fans coping up with Spurs at the top? So, what's your views on this, Saurabh?
Could you just again, repeat the question for me?
He's asking that. So, how
Okay, I
are
see the question. I
Arsenal
see the
fans?
question.
Yes, it's in the
Coping
yes,
with
yes.
was at the top. See that's something I believe Roop will be able to answer in a much more better manner because I understand Arsenal fans feel the rivalry a bit more than say a neutral from a neutral perspective. But I'm pretty sure they're not going to be happy about the fact that Spurs is at the top of the table. But then if you look at it, it's a reserve lead. They are currently at the top of the league with 20 points. So that means out of 9 games, they've just dropped around 7 points. And let's face it, it's not that it's not too surprising to see a Mourinho team at the top of the table because he has the experience. He knows his team. He knows the people whom he's managing. He knows the strengths and weaknesses. And to be very frank, I do see them as title contenders for the for this season, and I think they will run any team. Means any team that's going to looking to challenge for the title. That is Liverpool and City. They're going to have a tough time when they come up against Tottenham because if you look at the game, they have literally catered, and they're literally ensuring that their best of their assets are protected. That is Harry Kane. Like Harry Kane played 3 games over the international break. You had Son, and as well as Bale. I think Bale played a couple of games over the international break. But the main thing was Harry Kane. If say in his previous role where Harry Kane used to play up top, he was more susceptible to challenges. Now that Harry Kane is falling back, and he's being that creator, come forward finisher, and a pass provider, assist provider. So that makes him much more less susceptible to injuries at the top end of the pitch, because he's not going head on with all your central defenders. And that is actually benefiting Spurs, because you have willing runners in the form of Lucas Moura, Son, Bergwijn. All these players are very much willing runners. Even Lo Celso, when he came on, he was a very much of means obviously the fact that he was fresh coming on as a substitute, that did help his cause. But more importantly, he found the space to run. If you look at the if you look at that replay of that of Celso's run, he comes on at the means he's making that run from his own half, and he outpaces De Bruyne. De Bruyne is generally, he is considered one of the fastest, but Lo Celso having that extra burst of energy, being a fresh player, he just outran De Bruyne, and he was there. And your right back, who was Sergio Aurier, he was nowhere in the picture at that point of time. So yeah, sorry, so, means I mean right back was Bellerin. Means my bad. My right back was your Kyle Walker. Yeah, Walker was there. He
Yeah.
wasn't there in the picture itself. And yeah, so that kind of shows that Mourinho has figured out what works well for this set of players, and he is getting the best out of them. And we shouldn't be surprised to see a Mourinho team at the top of the table.
Yeah, I must be. And the only Spurs player that deserves a special mention is actually Ndombele, because in 2020 we can see an actually new player from Ndombele, what we have seen last year, because he is providing good stability in the center of the midfield, coming up well, connecting well with Harry Kane, and putting in good passes for likes of Son and Lucas Moura. So like likewise, Spurs are looking quite good, but in the past few seasons there has been quite a while that Spurs have actually shown bright spots, but they have eventually faded away. Hopefully they do it again this season, but at the same time we have been discussing it that Mourinho actually always gives something to the team in the second season, be it in Real Madrid, be it in FC Port, or wherever, be it in Chelsea, wherever he has been, he has actually given something, a trophy at the second season. So yeah, so hopefully they falter, but right now it's actually very proud and good to be a Spurs fan right now. But eventually, let's see. We are actually facing them on 5th of December. Hopefully, the December Blues will come into play.
Okay,
Yeah. So
so on
yeah.
26th, yes, tell me.
Yeah, so the actually the I have a question for Saurav. Like in the Premier League, we are seeing most of the clubs are actually struggling with form, be it Arsenal, be it Chelsea, and everyone. And we have actually made new signings to bolster our squad, but we are not seeing that much with Liverpool, even though I mean Liverpool has been performing quite well in both Europe, and even though they lost 7-2 to Aston Villa, but we can see a quick turnaround. You can see any top teams, Aston Villa defeating Liverpool, defeating Arsenal, and then losing to Brighton. Arsenal winning against Man United and then losing up against Aston Villa. So this is the inconsistency that we are not actually not seeing in Liverpool. So what's the X factor that is actually there in Liverpool? What other teams are actually missing?
The system. The system is something which Klopp has instilled in his players. The process, which he has, put his put his team, his first team, his reserve team, the under 16s. If you look at it, the one of them. See, while it's a roses scenario right now, this is not an ideal scenario, because to have 7 to 8 players, out of your first team out with injury is not exactly a very feasible scenario. While the results have all obviously gone in our favor, since that Aston Villa game, and on top of the VVD injury, the Gomez loss, as well as the loss of Alexander Arnold on the right flank. Further, Salah was not available this weekend due to COVID, and over the course of the season, we have also missed Mane, Alcantara at various stages. Kaita is now, I don't know, he's out for the foreseeable games at least. Shakiri is also out for the Champions League game tonight, tomorrow night, because he has also been diagnosed with a muscle injury which he had picked up on national duty. So yes, the most important factor that is responsible for these results at this point of time can be pointed directly towards Klopp, because of the system he has instilled in his players, because of the fact that it's not just players who are being it's not just players, it's the system that is enabling players to come into and do the roles that Klopp has asked them to do it. You look at Curtis Jones's display over the course of the weekend. We had a midfield of Curtis Jones, Wijnaldum, and Keita. Now, Wijnaldum has been a sure shot starter for say a considerable period of time. Ever since his arrival at Liverpool, he has always been one of the first names on the team sheet. And under Klopp, he is the first name on the team sheet, if not anything else. So you can see that
Yeah.
what kind of an impact he has. So that was the only experienced person over there. But the fact that all three of them were in sync with the attackers and even the back line, to when to press and when not to press, was something which was there for everyone to see. You were playing against a Leicester team which had a midfield of Madison, Tielemans, Mendy, and you also had means basically it was a much more experienced midfield in terms of Premier League experience. But yet to for the three players of Liverpool to come on top, and to not even let them have a foothold in the game. It's only in the second half. It was only towards the start of the second half, when, if you look at it, there was a quick spin, and that is when Madison released Vardy for a run on goal. But even that didn't
Yeah.
materialize. But that was the only clear cut chance that they could actually create. So this shows that Klopp is the person. Klopp's system is working. And although Liverpool has faced a lot of injuries at this point of time, I believe the system will help, Klopp system, and his tactics and whatever he's doing behind the scenes will help us through,
Yeah.
bite this phase till we
Right.
can till we can have our first team players back.
Yeah, I mean, being a Portugal fan, I have been following Diego Jota for a lot of time. So, how do you rate him as being the center forward playing for Liverpool, where the consistency has been a really solid point for them? Because in the Portugal versus France game, I have been beckoning for Jota to start over Joe Felix, but Joe Felix got the nod from the coach. So, what's your take on him? Even though he performed excellent when he was playing for Wolves, and when he actually came into the Liverpool team, we were talking about like he will not get as much of game time. He's just brought in for just having a competition inside the squad, but he's actually proving a trump card for club.
Yeah, it's an excellent addition, doesn't it? Like, in hindsight, it now looks like the one that got away for a lot of big clubs. It is obviously, Jota has proved obviously an astute signing, because for a 41 million, and the amount of options that he offers across the entirety of the you know front three and front four. Klopp now has the option of playing front three as well as a front four. Liverpool did go with that formation against Man City in a game in which everyone expected free flowing football, and for the first hour of that game, it was an excellent performance from
Yeah,
from both the teams. It was like just going back and forth, and they were looking at what you could say. Uh, a means a fast game. And more than the fast game, it was the way that the four of them were linking up, that was causing the causing other people to rise to run up and down the channels. It fed up Andrew Robertson, it fed up Alexander Arnold as well. And in that game itself, you could see that Salah was coming back and defending so that Jota could have a much more clearer run. So right now you have four forwards, Firmino being the most important one. If you means this weekend was actually Firmino's weekend more than Jota. Jota has been excellent, but it was for Firmino who was the one who
Yeah,
was
yeah, yeah.
pulling all the strings, and this was more than prominent. And the team means obviously the fact that he got a goal, and the effort that almost all your team members come and congratulate you and on the pitch, and the amount of accolades that he deserved after that game. Even Klopp said you know that means like everyone is happy for Bobby more than anything else. So those are the simple
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
factors. Yeah. And Jota, yes, that is at this point of time, Jota is like the most informed player in the league, and he deserves to be in this place because his game is excellent. The run which he made is something which is it's a center forward, but to do that from a wing, coming in from a wing, and to get on the end of a ball, like if you look at means I was looking at certain analysis, and hearing a couple of podcasts, and from what I understand is that Robertson didn't even look up, and you see that the multiple replays of that cross, you see that he doesn't even look up, but and he puts in that cross just expecting someone to be there, and it was Jota coming in from the right, making that diagonal run and running into space behind the central defenders, which is a very hard space to defend, because a defender can only look at what's happening. It means while there has to be awareness, 360-degree awareness and everything, but it was an excellent run that made that goal happen, and obviously the cross was excellent. And yeah.
Yeah, so it was a quite a great explanation. So we will slowly wrap up with two more questions we have from Mr. Nishant Shah. So the first question goes like, so post Oba contract extension, Kane has been the best forward in London. Uh, for someone who has been following Premier League for quite a long time, so morning shows the day is something that doesn't go with the Premier League or with any clubs. So you might see the first term of the Premier League going for Kane and going well for Spurs, but Oba might finish the season with last 10 games scoring 15 goals. He has already done it once back in 2018. So let's see, let's hope for the best, and good luck to Kane. Hopefully he doesn't continue the same form, and Oba does pick up the form when they face off. So this was one for the Oba, and we have one question for you as well, Saurabh. So we will take that one. Yeah. So the question says, one for the Liverpool fans, brilliant work victory over Leicester, but can this team be enough for Europe? For me, they have already proved if they are enough or not in just a year or yes.
See, things are like I said earlier, while this is not an ideal situation for any club, not just Liverpool, any club. So last week, I think during the international break and before the Premier League commenced, Lars Sivertsen, he appears he's one of the regulars on the Guardian podcast, Football Weekly, and he was of the belief that he gave a certain number. He said that around at that point of time there were 99 players injured and 15 people were on in or out with muscle injuries, and that is just the Premier League. So that's almost around 114 people, 114 players injured. So that is not exactly a good number. Now, coming to the fact that yes, we did manage a victory over Leicester in this current at the on Sunday, and whether this team is enough or not for Europe, I believe that this team is enough for Europe because we have the squad members, we have the positions that have we have covered in most of the positions. Uh, we have uh, we have a goalkeepers, we have a front three, we have the balance. that that is required to dominate a European competition. So these are some of the things which I can say that are in favor of Liverpool, and I believe that as the season commences and other teams keep on picking up injuries, Liverpool system is going to serve it much better compared to say other teams across Europe. Because if you look at it, it's in the last end of the group stages or the knockout stages. Most of the teams that make it to the knockout stages are the usual favorites. Amongst all of them, at this point of time, except Atletico Madrid, there is no other team which actually has a system in place. Juventus are still finding their feet. PSG are not doing that great, even though Tuchel has been there for a considerable period of time. In fact, they are on the verge. It means theirs is a must-win game tonight. Theirs is a must-win game tonight, because if they do not win, then they'll be out of the. Bayern Munich is probably the best team in Europe right now. So everyone is looking forward to a Liverpool Bayern matchup. I think that will be one of the best games of the season. And compared to say Real Madrid are struggling, not because of the system or something, because it is more of the fact that their players are aged and they haven't had adequate replacements bought in. So that's again one of the top contenders who is in a questionable state of form. But then again, the turn of the year may bring in more surprises. Everyone's going to dip into the transfer window, probably with the release, external factors such as the release of the vaccine for COVID. That is also going to play a huge factor as to how other teams may shore up their defenses, shore up their teams. And all these other factors are going to come into play, means as we proceed towards the end of this year. It is, but this question which Nishant has put for us, it will be a more appropriate question probably in the month of February, when once the knockout draws come out, and the group stages are more or less completed, I think. Not completed. There's still 3 games to go, but from a Liverpool perspective, Liverpool just need to pick up a couple of points over the next 3 fixtures, which I think they will comfortably do. And even a win or a couple of draws should help them out. So yeah. And
Yeah.
yeah, I think Liverpool, to just to again restate it. Yes, Liverpool's current squad and the team should be enough for if not to dominate Europe, to go a long way in this long way in the UEFA competition for sure.
Okay, so we have one for your actually challenges. The champions take on the challengers. So one for the Pep's team. So it's from a page, the tactics show. It says, "Hello lads, how are you gonna rate the performance of Man City this season? What's the problem?" So I'll give my views first. So what I set of Man City players have almost achieved a lot of things in their footballing career, of course, except the Champions League in recent years. But being said that, they are actually yes, they are out of form. They have actually signed a quite a few new players. But the problem was they took quite a lot of while to actually replace Vincent Company in the form of Ruben Diaz. We don't even know if Ruben Diaz or Laporte could actually take Vincent Company's place. And there has been a lot of seasons where they actually played players out of positions and they actually made good profit out of it. You must be remembering Delph playing as a left back when they actually won the Premier League. So yeah, so these things actually come into play, and they even though they are in a bit out of form, but it's just a matter of time when they'll pick up. So being said that, we will just take one more question. It was a great session. We will take one more question from Nishant, and this can take up by Prakhar or Saurabh. So the thing is, not taking much of your time, you can always have my time, dude. But PL wants to start for some fans for some locations. Do you think it is fair over all the clubs? Yes, Saurabh.
Nishant, I'm not very clear with the question, but I'm just reading it once again, not taking much of a time. PL wants to start for some fans, for some location. Do you think it's fair over all clubs? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to understand, that like I mean I'm not clear with the question. So can you,
Yeah, so
if you are there?
I'll make it a bit clear. But what do you think is clear? So I mean, he is first of all taking the thing that is it safe for the players as well as for the fans to actually come in, and we have actually this is the new rule that for the tier one stadiums actually we have only 10K fans, and for the tier two we will be taking in 20K fans. So that's the rule that will be implemented after December 2nd, when actually Boris has declared the whole lockdown is actually getting completed in England. So that's the rule. Like tier one stadiums will have 10K, something like Fulham or Leicester,
No,
somewhat,
no.
but teams like Liverpool, yeah, they will be having 20K fans.
See, adding to what Roop just said, today itself, I think there was means yesterday evening there was a news by the Premier League that now from now here on, 4,000 fans will be allowed, and which is still a good figure. Uh, but the main concerns are not that the not stadium. It is more about the fact that the sanitization process that would involve covering the entire stadium, and given the fact most clubs are not being able to generate revenue uh, because of ticket sales being curtailed, and so many other revenue points that have been shut down because of the lockdown and the COVID situation. So I think it is it is a good move in a it is a good move from a football fans perspective, but it is actually in the end up to the medical experts and the public health officials who are responsible for the citizens safety. That will be those views are more important than the than the viewing pleasure of the fans, because let's face it, we are we are mostly watching it from a we are the broadcasting channels target, and to be suffer and to be and it's sufficient to say that there is a they are not going to lose out on these fans who are looking at the game from outside the shores of UK. But the practical challenges for all clubs is understandable as to conducting of these games, and as long as it doesn't risk the safety of all the public health officials as well as the players, the teams. Because if you remember, one of the the ground zero game, the Atalanta, I think Valencia game was considered as the ground zero game for the spread of COVID back in Feb, when they had played a Champions League game. And we don't want to be in that situation once again, because I am pretty sure all governments over the world are having a tough time tackling this pandemic either ways, and we don't want to add to that or encourage it.
Yeah. So we will just take one more question before Prakash actually rounds up. So it's one from Gunjan Chakrabarti. It says, "Bit late to the party. How you guys doing? We are good. Can Spurs win the league this season, or would they, or where would they finish?" So I try to keep myself as unbiased as possible. The reason being, can they finish? Can they win the league? It's a no, because I'm sure in due time it's either Kane or Son who will be getting injured, and something or the odd will be happening. Either Mourinho will be losing somewhat from the dressing room with European games coming in Europa League and everything. So hope they don't win, but with their form, it's actually really scary right now. So I feel they can get to the top six. They will get to the top six, but hopefully not the top four. And hopefully the graph goes down starting from 5th of December. Tune in to watch Arsenal versus Spurs. Let's see. Let's hope for the best, and let's see players actually come in form. And with the most tough thing for me to actually digest is the form of Spurs players are going up the same way as the injury list of Arsenal players are growing. So, but hopefully, if you remember the last time we faced Spurs, everybody was expecting a five-goal thriller. Arsenal will win easily, but we ended up losing 2-1. So, football is something that is played on the pitch. So, let's hope for the best and let's see what comes in the way. So, yeah, that was my view. So, sort of, what do you think? Just to be specific, like, give us a boundary, like from where to where you think Spurs can finish. Is it top four or top six?
Top four for sure. I don't see Mourinho's team letting up anytime soon. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
injuries to key players such as Kane and Son might affect their momentum currently. But I think given the way the other teams in and around them are playing, there are not that many challenges. Not many challenges as compared to the experience which Mourinho has had,
Yeah.
what it takes to, keep a title charge alive. So, say Lampard is means the only competitors right now are Klopp and Guardiola. Guardiola's team is really is way off the pace, but it will only take a couple of results
Mm-hmm.
to change to have a different outlook of the table.
Yeah.
As for see, we are only 9 games into the season. I could say we could take a much more what you could say, mm, uh, you know a solid opinion, probably, or a solid assessment of the current Spurs team, probably at the end of
But
say
it
around
can't be a
three
conclusion.
games.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
probably
Because
at the end of
if
say
we start
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
sorry,
because
please.
if we start picking up the best of the teams from the first 10 games, then Arsenal would have won the league back in 2014, and Liverpool would have made it in 2017 itself. So it's a tough
That's
league.
true, that's true, that's true.
There's a reason why we call Premier League the most competitive league in the world, and hopefully it will stay up to the expectation, and we can see a fight till the last day of the season. Yeah, so with that, it has really been an engaging conversation with all our viewers and angels. So yeah, Proper, if you can round it up.
Okay, so thanks guys for joining us and thanks for the lovely questions, as well as stay tuned in Quadcover Sports right today at 8:30 p.m. as we are inviting East Bengal fan clubs, very big fan clubs are coming. So I hope you'll enjoy the show. Thanks for coming and watching our show, and we will be live again with these bad boys.
Yeah,
So stay
thank
tuned.
you.